Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to what is the self-proclaimed best podcast in the world. The podcast that is all about Formula Racing and the podcast that seems to never upload and is now in a Zoom call by himself. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Extra Podcast, the podcast that is all about Formula Racing and racing in general. Welcome. I'm not dead. I am not gone. um, so let me explain where I've been. I've been very lazy and not uploading and just not seeming to find the motivation to really do the podcasts. That's the complete truth. I'm not like, oh no, something happened. No, I've been very lazy lately. But that hopefully will change. But it's also been not fully my fault as well because I've started school recently and everything's a little bit messed up. If you guys know me, I moved as well, going to a new school. Everything's been very jumbled up, but everything seems to be settling down now, and I seem to be very settled. And I think I can probably get back into everything very, very soon. And I definitely will be coming to you next week. And sorry, not next week, 2 weeks for the what's it called? The Turkish Grand Prix, I believe. In Istanbul Park, and I definitely will be coming to you for the next race in Austin because guess what? I will be there. I will be going to the United States Grand Prix, the United States Grand Prix in Austin. I will be going there. If anybody watches my videos and sees this and is going to the United States Grand Prix, please DM me and I'll try to say hi. If I have any fans in the US, just try to say hi. And yeah, and hopefully I'll be meeting up with a bunch of other people, and there will be a couple of videos about that. I'll probably do a vlog about it, and probably do a podcast episode. I'll try to do actually a live episode from the track if I can, if I try to find a way to. And yeah, and I hope to see anyone there. But let's get straight into it. Let's review the most depressing race in recent times for me. I really thought, I really thought after Austria 2020, when Albon got slammed out of the lead by Lewis Jabableton, the Centurion, which I'll get into in a minute. I really thought that once someone I really like will be fighting for the lead or be leading a race or be like close to a race win, they would get it and I would not feel any more heartbreak. But of course, it happened. But before we get into that, let's move into the first stages of this brilliant, brilliant race. And by the way, well done, Sachi, for a great race. Lando Norris lined up on pole, and if you've been watching my shorts, thank you very much. But I post shorts every single week. Uh, yeah, Lando Norris lined up on pole in a very shocking turn of events. That saw a Carlando front row, Carlos Sainz and Lando Norris. Lando Norris ended up on pole, and Carlos Sainz in his Ferrari, who was performing just brilliantly in that Ferrari, lined up P2, and behind him, the man who is continually impressing me and the entire F1 community, Mr. Georgie Boy Russell. My God, is that man awesome? I am so happy he's going to be in a Mercedes seat. And for all the people asking me, why didn't I make a video on George? And I actually made a video on Alex Albon. You know why. I'm an Alex fanboy. But yeah, George, well deserved Mercedes seat and great job for getting a P3. Lewis Hamilton lined up behind in fourth after really struggling to get temperature in his soft tires just at the end, and actually ended up crashing in the pit lane, which is a very odd turn of events. And that is one push lap, spinning into turn 15, 16, I think, around there. Spinning and ended up hitting the wall. All is fine for him though, and he ended up not having to start from the pit lane or anything. And speaking of starting from the pit lane and from the back of the grid, we had a bunch of people start from the back of the grid, including Max Verstappen, who had a power unit penalty, Leclerc, who also had a power unit penalty, Nicholas Latifi, who guess what had a power unit penalty, and for some reason, Valtteri Bottas, which is very odd considering he literally changed his power unit last week, or sorry, 2 weeks ago in Monza. So that's a very odd turn of events for me. And I guess it was a bit of a strategy to try to slow Max down, if they could, try to get Bottas to block him as much as he can to help Lewis. But still, it was quite a blatant move to just say, yeah, Bottas, yeah, it's fine, just start the regular grid, you know. So yeah, very odd turn of events. And by the way, I'm sorry if you can hear a lot of background noise in this episode. I do apologize. But yeah, Lewis lined up decently in P4. Obviously, he would have been more happy with P9, but turning how he spun and trash, I think he could have been very happy. Um, and lights out, and away we go. And Carlos gets a bad start initially, but then gets the slipstream from Mr. Lando Norris and takes the lead of the Grand Prix and would stay there for, I want to say, like 15 laps, good 15 laps, until Lando Norris ended up overtaking him in a very cool move and a turn I don't remember the name of and don't remember the number of, because I don't remember the numbers of any turns basically. Um, and it was a good move around the outside, or down the inside, where a bunch of people made him move the entire race, and he got the lead and should stay there for a very long time. Notice I didn't say it till the end because he didn't. That's called foreshadowing. um, so yeah, Lando Norris would take the lead in very well fashioned, designed move from him. Very good job from Mr. Lando Norris. While, let's say, chaos unfolded behind. There are moves right, left, center, up, down, diagonally. There are moves. Sergio Perez had a bunch of moves until he sucked. He just didn't have pace anymore. But when on his time, he had some pretty decent moves down the inside. Max Verstappen had some pretty good moves in the same corner as Lando and Perez. So had Bottas. A lot of people overtook at the exact same corner, diving down the inside or trying to go around the outside. Leclerc had a few good moves. And a lot of people had some very, very, very good moves at the exact same corner. Obviously, it's a very good corner for them to have a late breaking move. Um, but it was just such a chaotic race, like because in the race we're like trying to figure out, is Verstappen gonna come back through the pits because he started on the hard tires while everyone else started on the mediums, no soft starters, I believe. Like, is he gonna go long and gonna take the lead after the pits? Is Lando gonna keep the lead? Is Lewis gonna catch him and take the lead? Is Carlos gonna grab it and take the lead? And some people actually said, is Daniel Ricciardo gonna maybe take a back-to-back win? As another episode I did not do on Monza, where Ricardo took a shock win, and I'm sad that I didn't do an episode on that because I should have, and I didn't. Yeah, a lot of questions unfolded behind, but it ended up being Lando would stay out in front for a very long time. But Verstappen did have some excellent moves climbing his way up the field, and Mercedes seemed strategy of Bottas holding Max up at the back didn't pan out. Uh, Verstappen actually got past Bottas pretty quickly and pretty easily, to be honest. Like, shockingly easy. Like, it should not have been that easy in a Mercedes, you know? That just shows why George is in that car next year and he's in an Alfa Romeo. Just a little insult to injury there. For Valtteri Bottas. Verstappen had a very good race. He had some very good moves. Ended up from P20 to P2. Very great job from him. Very, very, very good job from him. And quite the troublemaker in recent times. I said that weirdly. I said that so weirdly. Because Verstappen, sorry, Verstappen had that 3-place grid penalty this week. Sorry. Uh, because of his crash in Monza with Lewis Hamilton. If you followed me on Instagram, you would know my views on that. I do think it was Max Verstappen's fault, personally. Just my opinion. Don't want to get into people. Just, oh no, you stupid! It's absolutely Lewis Crash Buttons. Like it's him. I don't care, man. I don't care. People have their own opinions, unfortunately. But yeah, I think it was Max Verstappen's fault, and I do think it was deserved, and I do think there should be a new rule in F1, where if you have a 3 place grid penalty or a grid penalty drop for the next race, you can't take a engine penalty, to even it out, because I don't think there's then no point to the grid penalty. It's just a very odd rule. Just like the same rule of red flags. Like, why are you allowed to basically pit under red flags and change your tires? It's a bit of a bad rule, in my opinion. But uh, it's all in the past now. But yeah, I do think Verstappen should not have been able to do that and just get rid of his 3 place grid penalty. A man who seemed to be in a lot of trouble, even with his teammate, was Lance Stroll today. I mean, yesterday. Yesterday. Trying to figure out when the race was. Yesterday, Lance Stroll tangled with Sebastian Vettel. Kind of just drove into him a little bit. Oof, sorry. Kind of just drove into him in a corner, and then just killed Gasly into a corner. Just drove basically straight on and rammed Gasly in the rear of his left tire, and that ended up with Gasly out of the track and spinning round and round and round. You spin me right round, baby, right round, like a record, baby. Yeah. Pierre Gasly was spun out, and he was not happy with that. He was not happy with his entire weekend because he was knocked out in Q2 at first, and then that happened, and it was a little bit of a sketchy move from Stroll, because he did end up getting a penalty at the end, giving 10 seconds to his time, which didn't matter because he was outside the points, and I'm pretty sure he crashed. Um, Crashed, like he broke his front wing or something like that, in the mixed conditions. But going down, Lando Norris kept having that lead, like a dominant performance. But then Lewis Hamilton started to inch closer, and inch closer, and inch closer, and inch closer, until the rain came and messed everything up for me. When I How does this keep happening to me, man? How does this keep happening to me? First, it was Charles Leclerc in 2019, where he got his win stripped away from him in the Ferrari. Then it was Albon in 2020, when Lewis Jabableton rammed into him in Austria. Then it was George in Sakir, where he got his maiden win ripped away from him. When Mercedes decided that they didn't know what tires were. Now it's Lando Norris. When the mixed conditions changed, McLaren, okay, in my opinion, it's a 50-50 on McLaren and Lando. Lando decided to just stay out on his tires. But then again, McLaren did not tell him that it would rain harder. And that's the difference between McLaren and Mercedes. Mercedes kept on the radio, even though Lewis said, I want to stay on these tires. I want to stay on these tires. It's fine. Just let me stay on these tires. Mercedes kept saying, no, Lewis, it's going to get harder. It's going to get worse conditions. The rain is going to worsen. It's going to get harder. McLaren just said, go for enter. Let's go for enter. Let's just go for enter. And they never really said to Lando that the rain was going to get harder. The rain was going to get worse. And that's the difference. They just weren't as clear. And Lando was none the wiser. Yeah, so he stayed out on the hard tires he was on and ended up skidding off the road, and Lewis Hamilton ended up taking the lead away from him, sadly. And he did end up not even finishing on the podium, sadly. He ended up finishing in P7, and it was so sad to see him. It was so sad because he should have won the Grand Prix. He should have, could have, and would have. And it was just a major miscommunication between driver and team, which ultimately ended up in McLaren not getting the win and not getting a back-to-back win. which is so unfortunate for them. But Lando should have his head high after that race. He deserved the win. He could have taken the win. He could have beaten the Mercedes, Red Bull, and his teammate, and Ferrari. He could have beaten all those teams today, and he has the confidence, and he should have the confidence. And he does have the pace to beat all of them, and his time will come. His time will come, just how Albon will win the World Drivers' Championship in 2022 with Williams. I'm just kidding. But yeah, his time will definitely come very soon. I think he will again. I think he will win a race this year. And by the way, my predictions haven't gone to the bin. McLaren did win a race this season. I was right in Monza. Ha ha ha. But yeah, but I can't be too mad because Lewis Hamilton. Everyone stand up and give him a round of applause. Lewis Hamilton is now a 100-time race winner. 100. 1-0. The Michael Schumacher, as great as he is one of the most perfect drivers. 92 wins, and Lewis has now got 100. That is an insane amount. 90 people thought 92 would never be reached by anyone because that was just such a crazy number. I think the before Michael, the most ever gotten was 40 or 55, somewhere around there, by Alain Prost. So getting 90 was insane. It was sorcery. It was something that has never been seen before. And now Lewis Hamilton is the first man ever to reach triple digits in Formula One history. And it depressed me beyond belief to see these comments on Instagram posts where it said like Lewis is just in that car because he's just winning because his car is best, which is simply not really true. Yes, of course, a world champion has to be in the best car to win, of course. But just because he's in the best car doesn't mean he has no talent and doesn't deserve his wins. If you put me in the best car, I wouldn't win a world championship just because it's the best car. I wouldn't win a world championship at all. Nikita Mazepin, if you put him in the Mercedes, he wouldn't run a race. I think he would spin most of the time because it's more powerful. Yeah, it's of course Michael Schumacher had the best car at the time. Alain Prost had the best car at the time. Sebastian Vettel had the best car at the time. Jenson Button, Fernando Alonso, Alain Prost, Niki Lauda, Daniel Mansell, um, Jean Alesi, Gilles Villeneuve, Jacques Villeneuve. Just going down the list, Ascari, Fangio, all these guys had the best car. Hakkinen, Raikkonen. Well, actually, Raikkonen was a bit of a thing. bit of a thing. Rosberg in the Mercedes. Why is nobody talking about that if he doesn't deserve his win because he's in the best car? Rosberg. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. And it's just depressing to see all these comments. Like, oh, he doesn't deserve his wins just because he's in the best car. Of course he's in the best car, but that doesn't mean he doesn't deserve his wins because there's talent. That has to be talent in it, in it of itself. It's his talent that drives that car. It's the talent that makes that car win. There's a reason why Valtteri Bottas is struggling because I'll be honest, he's not a world champion. He's not championship material. And a prime example of this is what's happening this year and last year. Unfortunately, with my boy Alex Albon in a proven race winning car, he just failed. That doesn't. He was in one of the best cars, and he failed. Checo Perez right now is miles off, as good as he is, miles off in a championship winning car. Let's be honest, it's the best car on the grid. The Mercedes is definitely not the best car on the grid. Red Bull is the best car on the grid, and Checo Perez is miles off the pace, just miles. So when people say it's just because of the car, it's simply not true. It's quite depressing. And I saw a comment which it hurts, but it's true, where he said the only time people it seems like the only time people will ever appreciate Hamilton is when he's gone off of the sport, when he's retired, when he's long gone out of the sport. That's the only time people will appreciate him. Sebastian Vettel in Red Bull, people said his domination was boring at the time. At the time, his domination was boring. They didn't want to see him win all the time. They didn't want to see him win every single Grand Prix 4 years in a row. But then now we look upon those days in Red Bull, and we love those days. We look back and like, that guy is incredible. Look back at Schumacher's days in Ferrari, in Benetton, and wherever he was in, yeah, in even in his other years in Mercedes. We look at his his championship winning years, and I guarantee people didn't really like watching Schumacher win every single Grand Prix every single week, basically. But now we look like on those years, he was one of the greatest drivers to ever live. Ayrton Senna, again, the same thing. I'm pretty sure people didn't like seeing him, other than Brazilian fans and his fans, didn't like to see him win every single week. But now we look at him as the greatest driver of all time, the single greatest driver of all time. So again, we look at these drivers all after the fact, when we don't appreciate them when it's happening. And then that's, to be honest, how it's forgotten. That's how a lot of F1 fans don't know a lot of the world champions of the past. Where I'm surprised people don't really remember. A lot of people don't remember Fangio. Fangio. They don't remember him because I just can't explain it. And again, unless we don't start appreciating the drivers now, they're gonna get forgotten basically, and they're gonna look at them as they're just got their time and we didn't care about them. And guess what? Once Lewis Hamilton leaves and Verstappen starts winning titles, the cycle is just gonna start all over again if Verstappen keeps winning titles. If Verstappen keeps winning title over title over title over title over title, it's not gonna happen. People aren't gonna appreciate him anymore. People aren't gonna look at him as the saint that's gonna break us from the Hamilton curse. That where he keeps winning championship, he's the one guy who can take him on and can finally beat him and can finally bring the championship to him and finally take us out of this trend. Once he starts winning championships, what do you think is going to happen? People are going to keep appreciating him. People are going to keep saying he's a great driver, that he deserves his wins, that he deserves his poles, that he deserves his podiums, that he deserves his points. No, people are going to say that he's a worthless driver, that all his world championships are because of luck and it's because he's in the best car. Because that's what people do for some reason. And it's depressing. And this is depressing my talk right now. But yeah, unless we start appreciating the drivers right now, we're going to probably regret it, unfortunately. So thank you everyone so much for watching. And some news about me, by the way. I've just become it's a weird segue to talk about all that depressing stuff, and then now about me. So good things are coming very, very, very soon. I've joined two organizations, two great organizations. Downforce Pub and On the Overtake. Two great companies. I am a writer and a YouTube dude. I don't know my title on some of them, but yes, go check them out. Their links will be in the description below. The websites. And thank you everyone so much for watching. I'll see you all later. I hope everyone has a great day. I might see you next week. For either DTM episode of the podcast with my boy Aiden, or the Sebastian Vettel video for his revival at Aston Martin. So we will see very soon, and also look on the Overtake channel for more stuff to come. So thank you so everyone so much for watching, and I will see you very, very soon. All right, goodbye. Peace out.